Hello guys, it's the Faceless Beanie and welcome to my weapon build guide for a really unique secondary weapon, the Pyrana Prime. I won't be using ribbons as usual, and the build itself does not require much Forma either. So with that, let's get right into it. The Pyrana Prime is a strong secondary shotgun that deals primarily slash damage. Damage fall-off starts to only occur from about 18 meters from enemies, making it a feasible weapon to use at medium range. It possesses a unique trait in that upon getting 3 kills in quick succession, a clone of the weapon is summoned for 5 seconds, turning it into a dual-wielded weapon. This enables the weapon to take out multiple enemies really quickly, as its magazine capacity and fire rate both double. So now, let's get into the good and bad of this unique secondary weapon. Alright, so for the good, the Pyrana Prime possesses high slash damage, which is very effective against highly shielded enemies with high health. It's got incredible critical chance, which can further be improved with some mods. It's got a pretty quick reload speed, and finally, it's got that special ability which is going to enable you to defeat groups of enemies really quickly. So, for all its ups, it's got some downs. The Pyrana Prime has a pretty low status chance, which makes it a bad weapon for focusing on for a pure status build. It doesn't have the best accuracy. That, coupled with its high recoil, may cause some inexperienced players to struggle with controlling this weapon. And finally, the mastery rank requirement of 13 may put this out of reach of newer players. Let's get to the build. As usual, a really simple build requiring just 2 Forma with 1 Madurai polarity and 1 Naramon polarity. Starting off with Hornet Strike. This is the serration or point blank of secondary weapons. It's going to go in every single secondary build out there and really doesn't need an explanation. Moving on to Barrel Diffusion. This is a pure multi-shot boost for the Pyrana Prime. Multi-shot is going to increase overall damage significantly and also makes the underwhelming status chance and damage on the Pyrana Prime slightly better and allows for some status modding. Moving on to Lethal Torrent, another mod boosting multi-shot for all the reasons stated earlier, but this also boosts fire rate. Fire rate is pretty important with the Pyrana Prime, as you want to kill 3 enemies as quickly as possible to spawn the second Pyrana. The slight boost in fire rate here really helps with that. Augur Pact is a flat damage boost with no consequences, and it fits really nicely into this weapon. A raw damage boost is going to further provide the status on this weapon with some much needed help. As mentioned earlier, this weapon has fantastic critical stats, and it only makes sense to push these stats further. Pistol Gambit and Target Cracker are going to boost the critical chance and critical damage of this weapon respectively. Critical hits become even more important with higher level enemies in the Void or long endless missions. Now, for the 2 last slots, I've decided to give the Pyrana Prime a little bit of status, as a decent combination can be really helpful against certain enemies. I've gone with my favorite corrosive status combination, but you can switch it up based on the enemies you are facing. So, one mod providing 60% status chance and 60% status damage of your choice, along with a pure 90% status damage boost mod. These mods bring the status chance and damage of the Pyrana Prime to a respectable level, and it actually really helps in gameplay. So that's the build, let's test it out. You'll see, as long as you keep a close distance to enemies and handle the weapon well, it's going to take out most enemies without too many issues. It's especially impressive when the second Pyrana is summoned. That's when the real power of this weapon comes out. So that's about it. A couple of reminders. For mods like Target Cracker and Pistol Gambit, their prime variants will require more Forma. And also, remember that this build is a very simple build that most players can use and not necessarily an endgame build. So with that, I do hope this helped you out. This is the Faceless Beanie, signing out.